Welcome back to the Wake Up and Be Wealthy show. We are talking how to be the balanced best you can be with my dearest friend, Jo Henderson. I'm so glad you're here.
I am so glad to be here. This is going to be so much fun.
You are, you're a ray of sunshine, like truly.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And so it doesn't surprise me that this is your topic that you want to talk about. So my first question is how like what does balance mean to you? Like, can it really happen?
Absolutely. And my version of balance may be different than the Nellie version of balance, might be different than the Sheila version of balance. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Everybody's balance is different. And it absolutely is achievable if you have that goal in mind, that I am not going to try to find somebody else's version of balance. So the Jo Henderson level of balance means that you've had cereal couple times this week for dessert, that you were planning to have an amazing glass of wine with one of your girlfriends to catch up with tonight. But it also means that you kicked your butt with arms and legs this week. You got outside and got a walk in with your amazing fur babies. But then also that for balance means for me is I went and saw my therapist this week. Balance for me also means that I've been spending time on my personal development while I'm working in my business. So for me, it is not any one thing. It is really tuning into what I need in that moment and how can I have it without feeling like I'm restricting myself from something else, because that's not cool.
No, it is not. And I feel like there's so many women that get to the point where they're so burnt out.
Yes.
So how can we prevent that so we can be more in balance? Like, what are some like practical ways that we can make sure that we're taking care of ourselves along the way? And it's not like, SOS, like I am completely burnt out. I'm burning my business down. I'm not going to be working out anymore. Like We're just letting go of all the things that we know that serve us. So we don't want that. So talk to us.
From someone who I experienced burnout. I shared a couple weeks ago on my social media, I am almost 2 years coming out of my burnout. So what happened for me was I kept saying yes to things that I knew that were not serving me, not serving my family, and not serving my faith. Those are my personal core values. And I was saying yes to things that did not fit into those buckets. So the first thing that I always ask my clients is, what are 3 things this week that you said yes to that if someone asks you next week, you're going to say no to? And I will tell you that sometimes is the hardest part, especially for high achieving women, to say no, because there's that restriction again, right? If I say no to this, then what else am I saying no to? When reality is, if I am saying no to this, that opens up so many different yeses that are really going to fill my cup. So number 1 is doing the self-evaluation. What are you saying no to that you really want to say yes to? And what are you saying yes that you want to say no? The second thing is realistic expectations. So we all have seen on social media people who've transformed their lives in 30 days. In reality, it takes 21 days to build a habit. That does not mean 21 consecutive days, 21 days. So then that only is giving you 9 extra days for life to happen. And I don't know about anybody else, but in a 30-day month, life is going to happen probably 29 of those days. So giving yourself a realistic expectation and saying that, okay, if I really want to hit this goal, in the past, it's taken me 3 weeks to get out of my own way. So I know that I need to give myself more time in order to hit that goal. And then the last thing that I will say is grace. Grace has been one of the best words to describe my journey. Is in my quest for, I'm using air quotes, perfection, I realized that I had to give myself a lot of grace. And then I also realized that I didn't want to be perfect anymore because that ish is boring. And so I don't want to walk around a boring stick figure. I want to have life. So I give myself a lot of grace because if I'm going to disappoint anyone, I don't want to disappoint myself. So in order to avoid self-disappointment, giving myself grace. If I work out today, that's great. If not, I got up and I moved my body and it feels good. And that's all that matters.
I love that. And I loved when you said 3 weeks of getting out of my own way. Isn't that so real? Like
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
hardest, slowest part of it all.
Yes. And I think that a lot of times when we think about getting out of our own way, that means that we failed at something. That means that if I didn't start the second that that thought came into my mind, I failed at it already. And that's not necessarily the case in some situations. And I know one of your philosophies is action takers are money makers. And one of the wealthiest actions that we can do is giving ourselves the honesty of what that is that we really want. And so a lot of my clients are like, I want to lose weight. Why? And once we get down to that truly why, it's not about the weight for per se of their body, it's about the weight of everything else. So that's really, really important that we give ourselves that leeway to figure out what's our why really.
I love that. Well, and I know you have a huge passion for health and fitness and supporting women. And it goes beyond just, the workout and the eating,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And you're very much very vocal about diet culture. And I think that alone can help you not like when you're so focused on your diet, it can really mess with being balanced because you're like, oh my gosh, I ate the brownie and now I'm like,
Mhm.
I messed up. And so talk to us about food, like balance with food.
That part is very, very interesting because especially my clients are all or nothing women. They are the women that's like, I am completely career driven, and that's what their eyes are on. And so, if any piece of that becomes out of balance, then there is like that complete shutdown, and now that's nothing. And when it comes to food, a lot of people and a lot of diets teach restriction. You can't have sugar, you can't have carbs, you can't have alcohol. These are the things that you absolutely can't have, instead of teaching, let's have less of it. One of my big philosophies is there's no such thing as good or bad food. And I wholeheartedly believe that. There are foods that we should have more of. So our whole foods, our fruits, our vegetables, lean meats, whole grains, foods that are enriched in fiber. And then there's those things that we should have less of. We should have less processed foods because of how they make our body feel. For me specifically, I should have less red meat because it doesn't do my gut any health. Do I make it a bad food and cut myself off of it? Absolutely not. If I see a burger, and it looks good, I'm going to have a burger. So giving yourself that piece of saying that I'm not going to restrict myself and cut out my favorite foods is the best thing that we can do with balance. And if you have something in abundance one day, then give yourself the leeway. I'm going to have a little less of that tomorrow. One of the things I really like to say about sweets in general is if you are having it more often than not, it's not a treat anymore. It's not special. And so when you are at the house and you've had a really bad day and the kids' Oreos are on the counter, if you're dipping into those every single day, now you're making it a habit. Now we need to have a conversation about it. But if it's your kid's birthday and there's this cute unicorn cake and she's bringing you over a piece of cake with that huge smile on her face, you're not going to tell her no. And then internally, you shouldn't feel bad because you're celebrating this beautiful occasion with your child. And so that's where these restrictions get tricky. We're going to have vacations, we're going to have birthdays, and you want to be able to live life in such a way that you're happy, because the opposite of that is stress. And that stress is going to do the opposite of what you are trying to accomplish anyways. So just really being realistic with yourself and do not restrict yourself when it comes to food. 99% of the time, we are going to have something that's going to happen when you're trying to restrict yourself, and you're going to feel like you let yourself down, and that's not good.
I love that because it's so much more stressful to try to like not do it or think of how to like prepare for it. And it's just like, if it's a special occasion, like let it be a special occasion.
Absolutely. I told someone this morning, my nephew is my heart, and we have things that are very special just between the two of us, and jelly beans is our thing. And so magically, every time he comes and visits, there's a bag of jelly beans in his backpack. And so we'll sit on the couch, just the two of us, and we'll trade our jelly beans back and forth. How disappointing would he be if TT was like, no, we can't have jelly beans this visit because TT's on a diet? Well, that doesn't feel good to either one of us.
Yeah.
Now, can I say, all right, TT, you have this special occasion coming. So you want to make sure that those other days leading up to it, you're having a little less sugar. And so you can truly be present, be in the moment with him. I always say memories over macros. I'm a person who I track my macros, but it's a special occasion when he's here because he lives in Atlanta. So I'm going to make those memories with him before I even think about what type of macros Jelly Beans has in them.
I love that. Memories over macros. I've
Memories
never
over
heard
macros,
that.
yeah.
And I love that. I love that. So I'm curious though, too. So the negative Nellie out there is probably like, but how can I lose the weight? Like if I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a brownie, I'm going to have a cocktail. Like you mentioned like tracking macros. Like,
Yeah.
so for that busy woman that she does want to lose weight, but she wants to do it in a very balanced way, how can she get to her results, but enjoy herself?
There are three things that I always say: movement, happiness, and water. So the movement piece of it is not exercise. It's not working out. It's getting up and moving your body. So the science of how you lose weight is that you've got more calories, you've got a deficit. So you can have that deficit by eating less or moving more. I never want to tell anyone to eat less because I don't know how much she's eating out there, but I can always tell people we can always move more. Here in Ohio, it's been great for the last couple of weeks. I can get out and I can move more. So just moving your body more than what you have. That might look like parking your car at the very last aisle of the grocery store and walking more in. I always give my clients the homework if they're trying to get to steps, go to the grocery store with a basket, not a cart, and just walk around the perimeter of the grocery store. So then that way you're getting steps in and you're moving your body more. If you've got kids, what does that look like in getting outside and moving with them more? They're never going to be disappointed when mom comes and says, hey guys, let's go outside and enjoy the weather. That also is going to help with your happiness. And one of the reasons that I always talk about happiness with my clients is because a lot of them are stressed, whether it's kids, it's work, it's aging parents. It's something that we also forget about as we're moving through our life. Our stress factors are going to increase. So what makes you happy? If you are going to a workout class just to check it off of your list, but it doesn't make you happy, don't do it. If you are staying away from blueberries because someone told you fruit makes you gain weight, don't do it. You've got to do the things that make you happy because that stress hormone is out there. So happiness is truly, truly the key to it. And then water. You're a plant. You need sunlight. You need water. Drink your water. And if that means that you've got to go with sparkling water, you've got to add lemon or crystal light to it, drink your water. Because a lot of times women, we retain anywhere between 5 to 7 pounds of water weight every single day. And when our hormones on top of that is going to add additional water weight. So if you are not drinking, let's say half your body weight every day in water, then there chances are that extra 5 pounds that you're trying to lose, you could lose it if you drink more water. Now, here's also the trick. You're going to be peeing more, so you're going to get more movement in. See how I did that?
Boom, drops the mic.
Exactly. So that's the other thing. I always hear from ladies like, I want to drink water, but I've got to pee so much. And I'm like, that's how the water weight comes out, my friend. You've got to pee. Your body will adjust to it. So no, I'm not telling you that you're going to be in the bathroom as much as you are in the beginning when you start increasing your water intake, but really get the water in. That is something that we are so fortunate in our culture to have access to drinking water and clean water and options of water. That is not one that anyone can say they can't get in. You can drink your water.
Well, going back to the happiness factor, I could only imagine if a woman built her day, her whole day, from the time she wakes up to the time she goes to bed, it being all happy.
Oh,
can
my
you
goodness.
imagine? Like,
yeah, I can, because I do that at least twice a week.
It's just like that, like, gets me excited for a woman. Like, start there.
For sure.
Like,
exactly.
day job. You don't love it. Let's get you out of there. Right.
Exactly. And that's where having that community and that network that you can talk and you can have those conversations with, and they can pick up on, like you've mentioned a couple times, how you really don't enjoy doing X, Y, and Z. And for a lot of the times, resource is one of the reasons why people don't want to be happy. But I have lived this. The second you let go of that thing that is making you so unhappy, it's like a magic trick. For me, it's faith. It's faith that that happiness that you're looking for is going to happen. In my line of business, being a new entrepreneur, there were clients that I knew I had to let go of. There were clients that I knew that I wasn't helping them and they weren't in the right mental place. And once I released them, two clients who I could really serve were introduced in my life. And I was like, had I released that sooner of what wasn't working for us, then we both are going to be happier. So starting small, even if you're scared, taste it. See what it would like to go and do your dream job for a couple hours. And that maybe even be the motivation that you need. Drink a half a gallon of water a day and see how much better you feel the next day. And maybe that's all you take, all it needs.
It's those small baby steps, right?
It is. It is. There's no easy button.
No.
There's no magic trick to any of this.
But I've experienced, when you talked about releasing, when I've had the guts to do it, exactly what you said has happened. And it blows my freaking mind every single time. I'm like, why did I wait? Like,
right.
Why? Like, can I record myself? Remember this? Like,
exactly.
Release. So I've made that a point even recently doing of just, okay, the minute it doesn't feel right, we release it. Yep. And that alone has just, like, people are even telling me, they're like, you just seem different. You seem calmer, more peaceful. And I'm like, yes, it's working.
Yeah. Right as I realized that I was burned out and I released the thing that was burning me out, literally 2 days later, I had talked to someone they were like, your energy's different. Like your whole aura is very different. And I was like, yeah, because I'm happy. I'm at peace. Like I knew that the second I realized that I could not live that way, I couldn't keep walking around with my body hurting, or I couldn't walk around with that brain fog of like not feeling like the true authentic version of me, that was the thing that the second I could see, it literally was like you're at the eye doctor and you go from like that to that 20/20 vision. It's like everything is so much clearer. So give yourself the opportunity to get clear.
I love that. So for those that don't know your story, like tell us more about like how you got to where you are today.
Yeah.
I love your story. It's so good.
So this is an amazing journey. And it actually this week marks the 6-year anniversary that I was laid off. So I celebrated it so much. One of my best friends, Lindsay, sent me a message about that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the 6-year anniversary of it. So 6 years ago, I was working in corporate America, working for a retailer in the merchandising world. And that's what I had done right out of college. So I went to college in Florida, have a business degree, was living my best corporate life, got called into an auditorium 6 years ago. And it was like, okay, some of you guys are going to have jobs by the end of the day. And I completely did not think that I was going to be one of those people. And I was laid off. And the second that I walked out that door, I knew that my best life was ahead of me. So I literally went home. Me and my husband had just moved into a house. Me and my husband, at the time, we were not husband and wife, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And we moved into a house. And I knew that I wanted to help people full time. So I got into fitness full time. I had already had my personal training certification, my yoga certification. I went and worked for a couple of franchise retail gyms for over the last 4 years. And then almost 2 years ago, I decided to start the Jo Henderson Project. And I started the Jo Henderson Project because I wanted to truly change lives. I wanted to empower women to be stronger mentally and physically, because that was my fitness journey. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis 12 years ago and was 95 pounds. And so my journey wasn't about losing weight. It was about getting stronger. And as I was starting to do that, I realized that if physically I felt great, but mentally there wasn't anything that I could do. The first time I did a 300-pound deadlift, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Every woman needs to feel this way of being able to truly fuel her body and use her body in such a powerful way. And so the Jo Henderson Project was born. We are personal training, nutrition, mindset, in a team of wealthy, rich bitches that are so amazing that is truly like I'm living my best life. I've got the balance that I've wanted to be able to train my clients all morning, hop in my car, go pick up my nieces from middle school and take them to Crumble Cookie every Friday and have girl talk. I have the availability now that if my husband's like, hey, babe, let's go for a long weekend, I can, because I know my clients want the best for me. If I'm having a horrible ulcer flare, I'm able to reach out to my clients and say, hey guys, my health isn't that great today. And they understand. Whereas before I would be working and puking in a garbage can because I couldn't let other people down. Now I won't let Jo down. And so that's how we started the Jo Henderson Project. And I could not be more proud of the journey of the business and my personal journey as well.
I love that. So for those that want to connect and join your project and what you've got going on, because I know you have so many exciting things, how can they connect with you?
We have a free community on Facebook. It is called The Wealthy, is spelled WELLTHY, Rich Bish Community. And so you guys can find me there. And then also on Instagram, _Jo_Henderson_project. And I would love to connect with you guys as well. And I usually do every couple months free balance checks. So if you're not sure how to get more balance in your life, you can always message me and we can set up a 20-minute balance check and talk about how you can have more balance and more abundance in your life.
I love that. And she has really fun reels. So make sure you stalk her on Instagram.
Yes, we are filming some
good.
fun reels this weekend. So it'll be good.
I love that. So when you hear wealthy, what does that mean to you?
Ooh, your biggest asset is you. So wealthy means truly tapping into the genuine, most beautiful version of yourself. And even if that changes, who is she today? Who does she want to be in a month? And really working towards who she is, because everything else flows from you, your family, your friends. So really taking care of you and your energy.
I love that. That's so beautiful. So I love you. Go check out Jo. She is amazing. She's got so many great offers, a membership. You can work with her one-on-one, but you will not be disappointed. I love your approach to health and fitness for busy women. It's very exciting and not overwhelming. And like, you don't feel like a failure, right?
For
like
sure. No,
so I love how you approach that for busy women, because having kids and a business, and if you have a day job, it's just a lot. So it's like, at the end of the day, how can we take care of us? And I love all the practical advice that you give. So you're truly amazing. It's the best piece of advice that you've gotten. What is it?
The best piece of advice that I have gotten is that you can't pour from an empty cup. And that has meant different things to me throughout my life. And in this current state of not pouring from an empty cup is making sure that I am moving my body. I was telling a client this morning, I feel my best when I'm moving. And that may mean I'm hopping in a CrossFit class. That might mean that I'm walking on the treadmill. That might mean that I'm dancing in the kitchen while I'm making dinner, but I'm moving. And so I don't take my body for granted anymore, especially it's brought me so far.
I love that. Well, so good catching up with you. Check out Jo, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, guys.